Okay, welcome back everyone to the appeal review. Is there any questions, any discussion that anybody wants to have on any particular matter that we've discussed today? No, then can we move to a vote on the application for the review? Can any of the flying officers recap on this, please?
Yeah, we thought before coming to a decision, it might be helpful to talk through your views on the policies that we discussed last week to come to a decision on those, and also talk about what weight you give material considerations. So my colleague Ryan has got some information to go through with you. If you're happy with that.
Yep. Ryan.
So, as members will be aware, Section 25 of the Town and Country Planning Scotland Act directs that determination of planning applications shall be made in accordance with the development plan unless material considerations indicate otherwise. So the first question that committee therefore should be considering is, does the proposed development comply with the terms of the development plan? If it does not comply, the members should be considering if there are any material considerations of such strength that would justify a departure from the development plan. So the House of Lords judgment set out the following approach to deciding a planning application. So first of all, we need to identify any provisions of the development plan which are relevant to the decision. As members will recall, at a previous meeting with a detailed discussion of the relevant policies of the development plan, which are set out at sections 100 to 148 of the papers of the 23rd of June. Next, we need to interpret them carefully, looking at the aims and objectives of the plan, as well as detailed wording of policies. Members will recall that we considered this matter in detail at our last meeting, and the relevant policies set out are in the case officer's report of handling at pages 61 to 67 of the previous meeting. And then we have to consider whether or not the proposal accords with the development plan, and as members will be aware, the reasons for refusal of the application are set out in detail at pages 68 and 69 of the previous agenda papers. Next, committee then needs to identify and consider relevant material considerations for and against the proposal, and then committee then need to assess whether or not these considerations warrant a departure from the development plan. The main tests which are used when deciding if a consideration is material or not is that it first of all should serve a planning purpose. So that it means that it should relate to development and use of land, and then it should fairly and reasonably relate to the particular application. Although there is no defined list within the legislation of what constitutes a material consideration, examples of material considerations are non-adopted supplementary planning guidance, planning advice notes and circulars, views of any consultees, economic benefits of the development, impacts on nature conservation or the historic environment, any planning history of the site, lack of infrastructure such as sewage, water or drainage. In terms of personal circumstances, and this can only be considered where it is a particularly strong case. This is backed up by planning appeal decisions and previous case law examples. As noted to members at a previous meeting, it is important to note that there is no ability to control the end users of the development, i.e. that is restricted to the applicants. It is also worth noting that it is not the applicant who has any disability that requires them to live outside settlement boundaries. The planning system operates in the long-term public interest. It does not exist to protect the interests of one person or business against activities of another. As members will be aware, planning permission lies with the land and not with the applicant. In terms of any precedent, the Court of Session has acknowledged that consistency in decision making is desirable. English case law indicates that as a material consideration, that a decision might set a precedent, making it difficult for similar requests to be refused in the future. It is entirely possible that agents for other applications would comment on any other decisions by the Council as evidence that the concern about setting a precedent is justified. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions towards the officers? No, nobody. Okay. Personally, understand that this is probably against many planning regulations, but sometimes there are extenuating circumstances. And although Mr. Anthony Flanagan, the applicant, it's not his health concerns. There are health concerns of near relatives. And personally, without the doctor's letter, I would have turned this down. But I feel that we should go ahead with this and allow Mr. Flanagan to build this cottage. Any other?
Happy to second that.
Mr. Bowes?
I thank you, Ryan, for your summation. And I agree in the consistency of decision making. However, I have sat in the planning committee now for 8.5 years, and consistency is not always the case. I've seen situations where there's been properties built in the countryside. I remember one particularly in the Bowness area that I personally was against because it was just built for sale. I take the deputy conveners, right? Good, I got your title right. The point, and to be honest with you, I was online probably the last time to overturn the refusal. And today's meeting and the information that I've now had, I think confirms that for me. So I'm in line with you and Jack.
Thank you, Councillor.
Yep, I would, what everybody said, and I would like to agree with given for this. I think for the medical grounds as well, the other aspect as well is the proposed house is on an existing garden that belongs to the doctor, Paul. So, it's not as if it was external to that.
Yeah.
And actually when it comes to it's actually physical. So I would agree with what's been said.
Okay, thank you very much for your input. So we can agree that we are going to overturn the decision of the officers and grant the Mr. Flanagan his request. Thanks very much. Mr. Blythe will summarise.
Thank you, Convener. It's just to confirm the unanimous decision of the committee is that that planning permission is granted, having given weight to the particular material considerations, namely the proximity of the applicant to the owner of the donor site, and to administer the daily care needs, which are due to or are likely to increase. And if members are happy for that decision to be the issue of that decision to be delegated to officers with the imposition of such reasonable planning conditions. I'm not sure if planning advisors want to specify any particular conditions that need to be drawn out so that members can agree to those.
Thank you. There's a few conditions that are recommended in the original officer's report, which I would recommend that you follow through with. There's the standard conditions on 3-year time limit and developing in accordance with the approved plans. One requiring submission of contaminated land information, and one covering parking and access requirements. In addition to that, there's reference to biodiversity enhancements, and then there's a number of informatives that we would recommend putting on as well.
Sure.
With those conditions in mind, Convener, can I just confirm that the committee is minded to agrees to grant planning permission subject to those conditions?
Agreed.
Thank you. So wish you well. I wish your uncle well. And that closes this review committee meeting. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Catch you later.